What's up, world? I'm Determined Black Man JohnJ, and as usual, I'm determined to reach at least one somebody out to listen to the sounds of my voice, if not each and every one of you all. And today, I'm about to give you 5 places, I said 5 places in the United States that you can live for less than $2,000 a month. 5 places that you can consider whenever you retire. Somewhere that you can live if you're living on a fixed income or you just trying to live on a budget, $2,000 or less. Right? And there's 2 major things you should consider whenever you consider moving anywhere. That's your monthly expenses, which will be like how much it costs for gas, energy, your rent or your mortgage, the cost of just the average cost of medical care, the day-to-day expenditures. Those are the things you consider first. And number 2, livability. Livability just entails how accessible you'll be to your family, how accessible you'll be to things that you do frequently. You know what I'm saying? Places you may go frequently. Because all that would be considered into how much it would cost you, how much you would spend to live in this particular place. So those are the 2 major things you should consider. Also, livability is considering the climate as well. Are you a cold weather person, a cold nature person, or a warm nature person? So you have to consider all that. So we're going to start off at the bottom of the list. We're going to start off
number 5.
We're looking at Laredo, Texas. Laredo, Texas has a monthly average expenditure of $1,588.77. It's also been given a national grade of livability of 71. It's pretty good, y'all. Now, Laredo, Texas might not be one of the most friendly places that there is on this list because only 9% of its population is over the age of 65. However, if you live in Laredo, Texas, you'll probably enjoy the fact that you're only going to be spending about $379.71 a month. That's on a national average for food and groceries. Man, food getting expensive, y'all. You got to consider places like this. I'm telling you, for reasons like this, you got to consider places like this for reasons like that. $379.71 a month. Compared to some of these other places where you're looking at 500 plus, boom, man, it's easy for me.
Number 4.
On the list, we're looking at Tucson, Arizona. Tucson has a monthly expenditure of about $1,584.91, and it's been given a grade average of livability of 65. Not too shabby, not the best though. I'd rather see it in the 70s, but one of the things you might want to consider whenever you move, if you move to Tucson, Arizona, is the fact that healthcare won't be as expensive as some of the other places on this list. One of the cheapest places on this list is for healthcare considered when you consider a national average of $351.60. And 1/5 of the population is over the age of 65, so it's probably a very friendly place. Because most of the people there retired. 1/5 of the population are already retired and already they kick their heels up and in relax mode. So Tucson, Arizona, definitely a nice place to consider to live, especially with healthcare. When you think about it, the older you get, the more health issues you'll probably have. I'm not wishing that on you. It's just a fact of life. The older we get, the more our body deteriorate, and the more things start to happen, and the more we'll need medical services. And they can get quite expensive. I've seen people medication costs just as much as they make on a fixed income. You know what I'm saying? So it's a key point. You know what I'm saying? It's something to consider the older you get, or if you're just trying to live on a budget. You know what I'm saying? But especially the older you get, then the more you'll probably have to consider healthcare. All right. So
number 3,
we're gonna be looking at El Paso, Texas. El Paso, Texas has a monthly average expenditure of about $1,562.92. It's been given a national average livability grade of a 74. It's excellent. Not as good as Laredo, Texas, but much better than Tucson, Arizona for livability. The cost of rent or mortgage is on an average of about $810. Healthcare, however, is one of the cheapest, on the cheap side, about $374 a month average. You know what I'm saying? So, like I say, these are the 2 things you're going to consider the pros and cons of whenever you're considering a place to live. It's the monthly expenditures and livability. You want to make sure you live in somewhere you can afford, but also be safe and accessible to the places that you go and do things the most. El Paso, Texas. All right, so we moving right along. We're gonna move
number 2
on the list. So we getting closer to number 1. We ain't quite made it there yet, but we still in Texas. Yeah. So we're looking at Lubbock, Texas. Lubbock, Texas has a national average monthly expenditure of about $1,520.60. It's been given a national grade average for livability of a 68. Like I say, I'd rather see it in the 70s. 68 ain't that bad, considering that you only be having an expenditure of about $1,500 a month. However, the healthcare there is the most expensive on this list, on a national average of $452.12. But, however, the rent is the cheapest on this list. So that's why you have to consider these things, because it's a give take too, you know what I'm saying? So you're looking at about $690 a month on a national average for the city of Lubbock, Texas. For those that pronounce it, that's a good place to live. It's number 2 on the list, so it's definitely a decent place to live. Now, moving on.
Number one.
Number one hits close to home for me because it's right up the road. Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm from Mississippi. Shreveport, Louisiana, I visit there frequently. I know how Shreveport is. I actually like Shreveport. It's a decent place to live. It's not a lot there, but it has a lot to offer considering the size. And on a national average, monthly expenditures will range from about $1,400 to $1,498 a month, with a livability grade of a 65. You'll be spending about $374.77 a month on groceries. That's pretty good, man. I mean, like, that's almost the cheapest on this list. Real close to Tucson, Arizona. And you can consider, that's like I would say that's almost number 1 on this list, but it's number 2. Well, as far as groceries considered, this is number 1. $374.77 would be number 1 on this list. Places to choose as far as when groceries considered. And number 2 as far as with rent and mortgage. So you're looking at about $730 per month on a national average of rent or mortgage if you were living in Shreveport, Louisiana. Good place to live, y'all. Number 1 on this list of my top 5 U.S. destinations for $2,000 a month or less. These are 5 places to consider for retirement, or just on a fixed income, or just trying to budget your money. The top 5 places that you should consider in the United States. That was number 5, Laredo, Texas. Number 4, Tucson, Arizona. Number 3, El Paso, Texas. Number 2,
Lubbock, Texas.
And number 1, Shreveport, Louisiana. So most of these places are primarily down in the south, you know what I'm saying? You're looking at Texas on here 3 times. And Louisiana and Arizona. Arizona will be the furthest out west, and all the rest of these others. But I just wanted to give y'all a brief list of 5 destinations you can live for under $2,000. I hope this helps someone. Maybe someone out there that's searching for a place to go. Maybe they just need somewhere that they can afford to live. They're not necessarily about to retire. Could be a young person. Could be somebody that's trying to get their life started and they want to live on a budget, or they don't have a choice but to live on a budget. These are 5 places to consider.
Y'all, please hit the like button and subscribe.
Hope I help someone.
And hit the notification bell to be notified.
Hope y'all stay up, stay good people. I'm JohnJ, Adeterminedblackman. 1.